In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty. Darkness covered the deep waters, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface. God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. God saw that the light was good. He separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness night. Evening passed, and morning came, the first day. God said, "Let there be a space between the waters, to separate the waters of the heavens from the waters of the earth." And it was so. God made this space to separate the waters, and he called the space sky. Evening passed, and morning came, the second day. God said, "Let the waters beneath the sky flow together into one place, so dry ground may appear." And it happened. God called the dry ground land, and the waters seas. And God saw that it was good. God said, "Let the land sprout with vegetation, every sort of seed-bearing plant, and trees that grow seed-bearing fruit." And it was so. God saw that it was good. Evening passed, and morning came, the third day. God said, "Let lights appear in the sky to separate the day from the night. Let them mark the seasons, days, and years." God made two great lights, the larger one to govern the day, and the smaller one to govern the night. He also made the stars. God saw that it was good. Evening passed, and morning came, the fourth day. God said, "Let the waters swarm with fish and other life. Let the skies be filled with birds of every kind." So God created great sea creatures, and every living thing that scurries and swarms in the water, and every sort of bird. God saw that it was good. God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply. Let the fish fill the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth." Evening passed, and morning came, the fifth day. God said, "Let the earth produce every kind of animal, livestock, small animals that scurry along the ground, and wild animals." And it was so. God made all sorts of wild animals, livestock, and small creatures. And God saw that it was good. God said, "Let us make human beings in our image, to be like us. They will reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, the livestock, all the wild animals, and the small animals that scurry along the ground." Then the Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground. He breathed the breath of life into the man's nostrils, and the man became a living person. Then the Lord God planted a garden in Eden. He placed the man there to tend and watch over it. The Lord God made all sorts of trees grow up from the ground, trees that were beautiful and produced delicious fruit. In the middle of the garden he placed the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. A river flowed from Eden, watering the garden. God commanded, "You may freely eat the fruit of every tree in the garden, except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you eat its fruit, you will surely die." God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper who is just right for him." So the Lord God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep. While the man slept, the Lord God took one of the man's ribs and closed up the opening. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib, and he brought her to the man. Adam said, "This one is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken from man." The man and his wife lived together in the garden. They were naked, and they felt no shame. They walked in harmony with creation and with God. The serpent was the shrewdest of all the wild animals the Lord God had made. One day he asked the woman, "Serpent, did God really say you must not eat the fruit from any of the trees in the garden?" Eve replied, we may eat fruit from the trees in the garden. It is only the fruit from the tree in the middle of the garden that we are not allowed to eat. God said, you must not eat it or even touch it. If you do, you will die. Serpent said, you won't die. God knows that your eyes will be opened as soon as you eat it, and you will be like God, knowing both good and evil. The woman was convinced. She saw that the tree was beautiful and its fruit looked delicious, and she wanted the wisdom it would give her. So she took some of the fruit and ate it. Then she gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it too. At that moment their eyes were opened, and they suddenly felt shame at their nakedness. So they sewed fig leaves together to cover themselves. When the cool evening breezes were blowing, they heard the Lord God walking about in the garden. So they hid from the Lord God among the trees. God called, where are you? Adam replied, I heard you walking in the garden, so I hid. I was afraid because I was naked. God asked, who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree whose fruit I commanded you not to eat? Adam said, it was the woman you gave me who gave me the fruit, and I ate it. God asked the woman, what have you done? Eve replied, the serpent deceived me. That's why I ate it. God said to the serpent, because you have done this, you are cursed more than all animals, domestic and wild. You will crawl on your belly, groveling in the dust as long as you live. And I will cause hostility between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring. He will strike your head, and you will strike his heel. God said to the woman, I will sharpen the pain of your pregnancy, and in pain you will give birth, and you will desire to control your husband, but he will rule over you. God said to the man, since you listened to your wife and ate from the tree whose fruit I commanded you not to eat, the ground is cursed because of you. All your life you will struggle to scratch a living from it. It will grow thorns and thistles for you, though you will eat of its grains. By the sweat of your brow will you have food to eat until you return to the ground from which you were made. For you were made from dust, and to dust you will return. Then the Lord God made clothing from animal skins for Adam and his wife. God said, look, the human beings have become like us, knowing both good and evil. What if they reach out, take fruit from the tree of life, and eat it? Then they will live forever. So the Lord God banished them from the Garden of Eden, and he sent Adam out to cultivate the ground from which he had been made. After sending them out, the Lord God stationed mighty cherubim to the east of the Garden of Eden, and he placed a flaming sword that flashed back and forth to guard the way to the tree of life. Adam and Eve walked away from the garden as the light of Eden faded behind them, carrying with them both the weight of their choice and the distant hope of redemption.